Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us again. This is our weekend edition of Hebrew Word Study. Been spending some time and taking more time in between than I really realized, but the richness of it and the depth of the enjoyment of it has been incredible. And so I hope I can share that adequately. I fear that I can't, but to reconvene, we are in Matthew and we're in chapter 5 and going through now beginning with verse 3. And hopefully you can see my screen on there. I'm working on a interlinear version that looks very much like Bible Hub, if you're familiar with that, and putting the hyperlinks in. And this is my attempt to help deepen my grammar and sharpen my study skills to a level that I've never had to do before. And it has definitely challenged me. So, what we're going to look at today is just the first word of what is typically known as the Sermon on the Mount. And if we go to, you know, Bible Hub or we go to Blue Letter Bible, your King James Version, it will normally start out with either two words. One would be blessed. Blessed are the humble of spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, or happy is the humble of spirit, for to them is the kingdom of heaven. And so either of those words always just kind of um, caused me some disconcernment over what this is really supposed to mean. And that's where going into the Hebrew gives us a better understanding to just dig into this, to unpack it, as I like to say. And but this word ashrei has taken me just in a bigger suitcase and even a closet steamer trunk, if you will, larger than anything I ever could have imagined, but it is wonderful. So I'll try to share it with you without hopefully overloading you. You'll see here I wrote down in the translation that I just left it phonetically. I didn't, I transliterated it, meaning I just took English words and created the same tonal sounds of the Hebrew. It's ashrei. And so that's what I've written here is ashrei. And I did that on purpose because I was not comfortable with blessed. I was not comfortable with happy. And that's the reason for this lesson today is to show you why. So it seems every time I study to find deeper meanings for this word, I just never reach an end. And finally, after a couple of weeks of searching, I just said, well, I need to just stop, share what I've learned, and at least give you something because it seems like I will not come to a satisfactory understanding of this word ashrei. There's just so much in it. So just take a look at Bible Hub. First of all, I have the hyperlink in here. It takes us to Hebrew word 835, which is asher. And of course, Bible Hub will give you the definition that pretty much the translators into English had settled upon. Christian translators, even the Hebrew, it will just be happiness or blessedness. And it's used quite a few times. This is what makes this so interesting is what does it mean to be blessed and what does it mean to be happy? Um, is this a condition of something that you get because you do this? If you follow what's going to be coming on in the rest of the verse here, is it something you can expect to derive from it? Or is it something that's a quality that you possess? And because you possess this quality, you will then get the following pluses and minuses and benefits and things that are going to be mentioned. And that's where this study will take me, if you will. So you look at the Brown Driver Briggs, it just talks about happiness, blessedness, but it does show us that there is a word origin of ashar. So let's see if that will shed any light on it. Now, this is interesting because the root word for ashrei comes from ashar, which means to go straight, to go on, to advance. You don't see that they translate that anywhere that way. They translate as blessed, happy, guided, I think could probably be to go on or to go straight. But I find that very, very interesting. So we're going to leave the Bible Hub. You see where we're up against, and we're going to just take a look into some other sources. I've been reading a lot of information, and I came across a definition that really resonated well with me. And I've written it in the comments here for this, and it says, a spiritual condition of divinely gifted joy already present, not a requirement to be fulfilled in order to receive a reward. I wrote that down. I love the definition. It matched with my spirit as to how I thought um, I understood this whole Sermon on the Mount and what Jesus was saying, that he wasn't telling them that if you do these things, then you're going to be blessed or then you're going to be ashrei. But if you are already ashrei, these are the characteristics, these are the qualities, these are the things that are going to um, come to a person who fits in the ashrei category. So I was real happy about that. Unfortunately, I didn't write the source down, and I cannot find where the source comes from. I have looked everywhere. Um, Obviously, I didn't look everywhere, but I thought I did, and I couldn't find the source. So I wrote down source unknown. Um, but there were some other sources that I also studied with, and you know what? They pick a different viewpoint. One is a new psalm by Benjamin J. Segal, excellent book. I found it on Amazon. And then the Hirsch Tehillim by Samson Raphael Hirsch, who I greatly respect. He also takes a different position. And then there's another series of three lexicon volumes that I have by Jenny and Westerman, and they have a insert there where they wrote about the word ashrei. It's on page 195 of volume one. So I'm going to show you both sides and show you what Benjamin Segal and Hirsch have to say about that. If we look at um, this is an excerpt from Segal's book, and I have it highlighted here. He goes into some deep grammatical about that it's a plural construct, which normally would indicate of and when you look at the word itself, the sere yod at the end would be indicating, and it's used the same as in aniye or humble, which they do translate as humble of spirit. So the understanding here is ashrei of humble of spirit, which is obviously really bad English, but it does give you the understanding that it's a plural construct, which means something that's occurring. And so Segal picks up on this and says that this implies peace, satisfaction, fulfillment, and a tranquility of worldview. So that supports, my first understanding of that these are qualities that exist in the person. But what's this is one of these things where you say, okay, well, this is what it looks like on one hand, but on the other hand, here's another way to look at it. And so here he's pointing out that this other person looks at ashrei and feels it's a deep conviction of righteous ways. And then he feels that there's a second, and then ultimately he says that the second interpretation is better, and this is apprehension of the psalm rather than a promised reward. And so he's saying that these things are not a reward, but they are just qualities within the speaker or in the reader, the one being spoken about, the one being talked about, and they will come out of that person's life. And so again, what I find is so interesting that there is so much dialogue on the meaning of this one word, the meaning of ashrei. So I'm presenting these findings for you to see which one best aligns with your feeling of this. And maybe it's both. If we go to Samson Raphael Hirsch and we look at his Psalm 1, here he is going on the direction um, of asher, which means to step forward or to progress. So he's saying that this is meaning of not already having possession of these faculties or these material goods, but you are making progress towards the eventual attainment of such of these called material or spiritual wealth. It's a striding forward in advancement. And as you can see here, he's got numerous um, things he points out about that. What I thought was very interesting here is he points out that Torah in the book of Deuteronomy leaves off in a place where he feels this connects again with well, he doesn't point it out, but I look at it that when Jesus starts teaching, I can see a connection between the end of Moshe's or Moses's sermon and the beginning of Jesus's preaching. And I would have never thought of that at all had not Hirsch wrote this down. And I thought it was just a beautiful, beautiful understanding of where this was going, and just incredible to see how he thought of it in such a way. And so I wanted to point that out because that just fits beautifully with what Jesus is doing, what Jesus is preaching, and tying it together because of all the references between Jesus and Moses. And I thought it was very interesting here that Hirsch saw this as a farewell blessing from Moses, uses the word ashrei, and here when Jesus starts preaching, he begins with the word ashrei. He also makes reference to King David doing the same thing, feeling that David in the Psalms picked up where Moses left off. And so here you see these three prominent men of the Bible, Moses, David, and Jesus, all centered around this word ashrei, which again just begs to um, make us look deeper at this word and not just pass it off. And I'm still struggling to grasp the meaning and what this could fully entail. But I wanted to pass that on to you, give you some food for thought, show you that, again, the beauty of studying um, these Hebrew words and looking at the depth of meaning that cannot just be fulfilled with just a simple word like blessed or happy, that there is a much deeper understanding and a connection between the Hebrew of the what was spoken in Deuteronomy, the Hebrew of what's spoken in Psalms, Psalm 1, when you get to where this word ashrei is being used, and the connection, you see it all through the Psalms, and then to see that Jesus uses the same word to begin his preaching of the Sermon on the Mount, just brings about in my spirit a fulfillment, a confirmation, and also a challenge for me to say, okay, where do I fit into this? Am I an ashrei because of what I already have? I feel, as I'm saying that, I feel, of course, very deficient in that, especially when you get to talking about humble of spirit. Would a person who's truly humble of spirit be able to even acknowledge that? And would that negate, saying, his humility? And how does ashrei fit into that of being humble? I can also see it being a place to start, but then a place to grow. A place like Hirsch had said, it's a pathway, it's a journey that you are moving along. And if you go to Psalm 1, blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. It's a journey, it's a pathway. And again, just a beautiful illustration, a beautiful understanding of just one, what may be just a simple word, but what a punch it packs, and what a powerful meaning behind it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it will encourage you. Think about the word when you see blessed, or you read the Psalms and you see blessed or happy, just to stop and think about it a little bit more. Well, we will pick up further on in the verse next time we get together. So thanks for joining. God bless you, and hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.